My name's Chris. We're for TruTech. Tim said I'm working on a backup alerting platform, kind of the version 1. Our current backup platform has integration with ConnectWise, but doesn't satisfy the stringency that we need for checking hourly failures versus just daily failures. So decided to, as my first workflow, to build that alerting platform to create tickets and manage. So this is the base workflow that I created. This is where it kind of gets the data through API. It is grabbing the bearer token for the API call and then making the actual call here, which returns on average about like 50 or so backup jobs. It runs on the hourly by a trigger, and it only pulls the last hour's worth of backup jobs. From here, we use a for each loop to break into a sub workflow for each, I guess, item of the data, and we're pulling some information from each item for that for each loop, status and customer IDs and start times and everything, just so we can have that data to be able to match it. And in our actual sub workflow, this is kind of what it looks like. So what we're doing for each item is we are parsing using another API call, the customer ID that the first API call gives us, to actually get a legible name for the client. Same thing for the server. It uses an ID for the asset or for the server. So we're doing another API call to be able to get that legible plain text name of the server. From there, we are passing that data into a ConnectWise Automate computer list to match the server names and find a match for the server using ConnectWise. If it doesn't find the match, it goes to a smaller set of tasks where it actually creates a ticket for our NOC to figure out why it didn't match. And I'll show you an example of that. It looks like this right here. And all it pretty much says this is just more proof of concept because I'll do more descriptive later, but it's just saying unable to find the server name and automate and just to fix it. Some cases could be just the backup platform uses the Hyper-V naming of the server versus the actual host name. So it could just be misnamed in the actual Hyper-V console versus what the server is actually called. Other cases, there's just actually not an agent on that server, whether it's a OS a compatibility issue with Automate or some other reason. So what it does is it'll check if there's an existing ticket that was already been made by this workflow. If there was, it adds a ticket and bugs the engineer to still fix it. And then if there's not a ticket, then it creates one. Back to the list, if it actually matches the server name and finds it, it pulls the company information from Automate, which our Automate is integrated within Manage. So it gets us an external ID that we can pass into Manage to get that company information, which is this get company here. From there, we have pretty much all the data we need to be able to make a ticket based on the failure, where it passes into this list service tickets. This checks a board that has our backup alerts on it and verifies if there's an existing ticket and if the status of the backup is a success. If it finds a ticket and the current backup it has that's trying to run this workflow, it's a success, it'll add a note into the existing ticket saying it did succeed the last backup, and it'll close the ticket. If there's an existing ticket and the status of the backup is still failed, it'll add a note to the ticket saying that it's still failed and keep the ticket open. If the backup has failed and there's no existing ticket, it just makes a ticket with the information in it. And then if it's a success and there's no ticket at all, then it just does nothing pretty much. Sorry for my dogs. And then just the example of the ticket for the backup is right here. Just a basic proof of concept. Says what type of backup it is, the status of it, server name, and what date it actually failed. And as far as just time savings, I wouldn't really put it to time. It's more or less just being able to customize when we get to know when our backups fail and not have to rely on the vendor to determine how often we get alerted for backups failures. And that's it.